Welcome to the 28th video community of practice meeting. I'm Pankaj Agrawal, founder of Next Software Solutions and working group leader of this community of practice. Um, so let's get started. I don't think we need to review the last meeting. There are no one else. So let's just get started and discuss the things that we were working on. So coming to this volume change issue that you raised, Jason. Uh,
hmm
I worked on it a bit and I thought I had nailed it. So while I was writing this comment, thought that I should also test on mobile. And when I test on Android, the issue was not fixed there. So what I was trying to do is I was trying to check if the slider is active, and when the slider is active, uh, it sets an event. Triggers an event called slider inactive when the slider goes to inactive state, and triggers an event called slider active when slider goes to active state. So that was happening on the browser and it was working fine. I was checking for slider event and then setting a variable to make sure I know when the slider is active and not active. And I was sending the statement on two conditions. One was when the slider goes to inactive state. So whenever the slider is active, it means we are changing the volume, and when it goes to inactive state, that means the volume change has been done. So I was sending a volume change statement on that event, and I was sending a volume change statement also when there was a volume change event that you had added, but only when the slider is inactive. So this was useful when someone, let's say, clicks mute or unmute button. So when clicking mute unmute button, the slider doesn't go to active state. It just straight away changes the volume from whatever volume it is to zero. So for that condition, I was sending the statement when volume change event was there, but the slider was inactive. It was working fine on browser, but when checking on mobile, there was the same issue. That means the slider active inactive event is not getting fired. Probably it was on full screen only. So it is likely that when we are on full screen, probably it goes to the mobile's default player, and it is not playing on the player that video.js is creating. So probably it
So,
is not able to handle that slider state thing.
so just to recap, so when you go full screen, it doesn't track the volume, but it does it otherwise,
It
even on
tracks the
Android.
volume. It tracks the volume on full screen. I didn't check on the normal state because it was very small size, so I in, didn't try that. But on full screen, it tracks volume, but the issue is that it sends a lot of statements. So within few seconds, it sends like tens of statements.
Oh, okay.
So it is the same issue that you pointed out when
Yeah.
creating the issue.
But okay, so your fix only resolves it when it's regular, playing at the regular intended screen size, not when it goes to full screen.
Most
And that's
likely, I didn't check on the normal browser on mobile, but I believe
okay.
it'll happen same on mobile as it is happening on desktop.
Hmm. Okay. Well, that's good
So
that you pointed out. That gives us something to look for to see
yeah.
what's going on in full screen.
So if we can find a perfect solution, that is great. But I have a possible alternative that we can do is that, as I have suggested here, that what we can do is we can check when the volume change is happening, and then wait for 1 or 2 seconds. If there is any change happening again in that 1 or 2 second, then we again wait for another 1 or 2 seconds, and then when we see that in last 1 or 2 seconds there is no volume change event happening, then we send a statement. So in that case, we'll probably reduce most of the statements that is coming in, because I've seen that the statements, there are several statements in a single second.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if it might have something to do too with an on mouse event versus on touch event for mobile.
Uh, I believe that it is uh, related to video JS not being able to check if my slider is active or not.
Gotcha. I found there's a community forum for this video JS community too. I
Mhm.
found them to be very responsive.
Okay.
Also, if you want to post a question on how to get to that or
Mhm.
look for that, there they'll reply like immediately. It's like a Slack, or so
Okay.
That's
they
cool.
keep it up all the time. Yeah,
Okay, that's good.
I
I wonder
see.
if the volume
Jonathan,
buttons take
oh,
over.
go ahead, Jonathan.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I wonder if the volume buttons take over the events at full screen, like on the phone. You know, the side buttons. I wonder if
Mhm.
that's why it does that. It's kind of weird though.
Yeah, so probably the event is being sent by the OS to video.js, and video.js is transmitting that or just creating a trigger for that event sent by the OS, right?
So we're just reviewing the issues, Jonathan. Pankaj over the weekend submitted pull requests with a lot of these issues addressed.
Yeah, I just started reading all you guys' emails this morning. Um, Great job on knocking out so many and identifying other problems.
Yeah. So next thing, I think, yeah, closed captions. So on this one, I was able to figure out a way to fix multiple statements. I added 20 minutes. Yeah, so this is one thing that I was able to fix. Um, I don't like the solution very much, but I couldn't find any other possible way. Because what is happening is whenever the closed caption thing is being changed, let me see. I think I have removed the logs, but yeah. So in this, if I change from English closed caption to English subtitle, what it'll do is it'll first remove from both and then add to the second one. So there are two events being created, which is sending which was sending two statements on every change of value. So what I have done is I have added a small delay, a 20 millisecond delay, and I'm waiting to see the final state. So even with 2 millisecond delay, it was working fine, but I have added a little more 20 millisecond delay just in case someone's machine is slow and both events are delayed a bit. So I added this delay, and after the change happens, whatever state is there after 20 milliseconds of time, that state is being sent to the LRS as a statement. So only one statement in this case is going out. Uh, there was one more thing that is happening is whenever I launch, let's say I load this page, it is sending two statements. It is sending the initialized statement, and then it is sending the caption. Uh, I'm sorry. It is sending the interacted statement for change of captions. I feel both of them can be any issue. The thing is, let's say if a page has 50 or 100 videos on them, and you are giving a choice for someone to play any video they want. Now, whenever a person loads that page and this thing shows up, let's say there are 50 of these videos, separate videos, uh, they'll have 50 into 2 statements in the LRS. Let's assume this second statement is anyway removed later, but we'll still have the initialized statement. So there are two separate issues, these two statements. That will be sent to the LRS even when the user has not even started watching any video. So for the initialize statement, one solution I was thinking is that we send the initialized statement only after the user clicks on the initial play button. What do you say?
Yeah. So yeah, that makes sense. Well, I mean, it's weird because I guess it is loading the event when the player loads, and that's what's triggering the statement. So
Yeah, so we are using the ready state, and probably the ready event means that the player is ready to play the video.
right.
There is
So
one more issue related to this thing. Uh, in the in the initialize statement, we are sending all the context information. So we are sending all the context extensions here. And I tried adding the quality extension on this as well. So when adding the quality extension, what is happening is it needs to know the video's actual size that is being transmitted. And when the player is ready, it doesn't know that. It gets to know that information only when it starts playing the video. So that quality extension cannot be sent before that. So that is another issue related to sending this statement before the initial play of video.
Strange. So it doesn't know that when it's loaded. It
Uh,
doesn't know it until it's played.
yeah, probably because it doesn't query the URL till you click on play. So probably it is just creating the environment and waiting for you to click on the play to send query to the third party server or wherever the video is.
Gotcha. Yeah, I guess
yeah,
because you can because the playback size is what size the video currently is. The quality size is going to be, if they change it, it's going to be something else, whatever they change it to. But if they don't, it's just going to be the same thing as video playback size, right?
Yeah, video playback size is the size of the screen that it is video is consuming right now, but the quality size is the size that the video is originally in. So the video might originally be in some different size and your screen might be playing it in a different size of your screen. So if you have a larger Mac 27-inch, you are on full screen, it will take that entire screen size. If you are on mobile, it will be taking that much screen size. So video playback size is the size of the screen that it is consuming. But the
Yeah.
quality it'll know only when it'll check the video.
And screen size is the available size of the screen you're on.
Yeah.
So quality would be whatever they changed it to. So I'm
No,
trying.
no, 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 no. Quality is the size of the actual video. So let's say you recorded a video in 640 by 480 size on your mobile and loaded that video. So your video is 640 by 480. That video doesn't change. That will change only when your player has an option to uh, change that video size. So for example, if you load on YouTube will create 4 or 5 versions of that, and it'll give you option for 320 pixel, 480 pixel, HD, SD, all those
Yeah.
options. 20.
So
Yeah,
it sounds like we're not going to use quality for the video GS though, right?
we are going to use, but it cannot be used till the video is played.
There are some weird ones in here at the
Gotcha.
that are just like ghost shells.
Yeah, but this one 2.7.
So it makes sense to send this
Well,
integrate.
but hold on a sec though, Pankaj. So for the video controllers on Video GS, there's only 2 options: to play at the current video size or to go full screen. So where would they use the quality extension if there isn't a way to change that?
Yeah, so let's say we go to what we are discussing, that we send the initialize.
Yeah, one I think is Lahaina Roads and one is.
Yeah, so if we send the statement after when the user clicks on the play button, we'll have that quality information, and we can send that information in the initialize statement, like we are sending other extensions. So that quality information will not change if we are using Video.js. It'll stay the same.
Okay.
But we'll be able to know the quality of the video.
Okay. That makes sense.
I responded by email that I thought I agreed with you, Pankaj, to delay sending the initialized statement until after play hits. We do that on some of our assessment data that we collect anyways, because it just if we're trying to measure learning, we don't really care if the video loads, but there's no experience done. And I think if you're just looking to make sure the video loads generally, there's more efficient ways of doing that than sending a statement and then querying the statement back.
Yeah, so it's decided that we'll change it. Fine. So another statement that we have here that is also being sent on loading this player is the caption thing. So it is happening, Jason, because you are changing the value to true for captions and for subtitles. So by default, you are enabling the captions as well as subtitles. So this is another issue. It is doing two things. One, it is sending the statement. Another thing is it is enabling both. So by default, manually you cannot enable both captions and subtitles, and probably it doesn't make sense. You'd either have captions or you'd have subtitles. You would not have both enabled.
Okay, so I don't think it's innate. I mean, let's go into the video to the JS library. I think it's line 69. I don't think that enables the captions. Those are enabled by default in the player because they're in the HTML tags for there to be a captions track in there. So if you go to line 69, I don't know if you have the repo open. Go to that xAPI-videojs.js file, JavaScript. There you go. What? Okay, wait, hold on. Go back to the HTML page first. Let me show you something there.
This index?
Yep. Okay. By having the track tag element, do you see that there's a track captions and a track subtitles? That, and it's pointing to that file. That is saying that those exist. Those it's going to turn on and use those. So, all right, now go back over to the JavaScript file, the Video.js one that we built.
I didn't get what you said. Track. Okay, this one. Yeah.
track kind equals captions and track kind equals subtitles. Those are declared in this HTML, right?
Yes,
So
these two are here. These two are adding the captions and adding the subtitle. So this is what it is doing. Now when we go to this xAPI video.js,
yep,
now
I think it's line 69 or 70 somewhere around there.
yeah, this one.
Yep,
Track.mode equal to showing. When you
yep.
are doing this, you are saying that if kind is caption, change mode to showing, and if kind is subtitle, change mode to showing. So what
No,
it is doing is,
it's saying if track kind is captions or track kind subtitles, then the mode is showing.
yeah,
It was just trying to find a way to see if it's the current mode is showing or not. I guess we could say if track.mode equals showing, right?
no,
Or is this
let's see this. This thing here, it is changing the mode, and this
oh
thing here, when you are checking if track.mode is equal to showing, and then set a variable cc enabled equal to true, cc language equal to track language. This
right.
thing is checking. So this one is changing the mode. Let's see. Let me disable it.
I see now. Okay. And so you've got it built in to see, since we're forcing it to say that the mode is showing, it's causing an extra statement to be sent, is what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I wonder if there's another way to check.
So it is doing two things. It is enabling on both. When you are saying either captions or subtitles, means for both conditions it will be true. So for
Yeah.
both conditions it will be showing, and that is why both are getting enabled.
I wonder if we could, why can't we update that to say if, just take the track.mode showing off, and couldn't we say, like, combine those two conditions? If track.kind equals captions or track.kind equals subtitles, then enable then var enabled equals true and var language equals track.language. Like, that should work. I don't know. It's like we don't even need to check the showing. Maybe that would resolve it from having a double statement sent. Does that make sense?
Ideally, we should not change what it is.
Yeah,
That is what I think. Uh, and if you change, it should be somewhere outside this JS,
gotcha.
so that uh, if someone is using this script, they don't need to go and change this default behavior.
Okay, well, I'll look at that. Well, you at least fixed it now so that the caption button is tracking, right?
Caption button is already tracking, yeah.
Okay.
So what do you think? Should we remove it, or should we try to find some other way to enable? I think there might be some way to change it from the index when we are adding this index.html.
Yeah.
When we are adding this track line, there might be a way to enable it by default. I'm
Yeah,
not
well,
sure.
that's what I'm saying. I'm wondering if we can say if track kind is captions or track kind of subtitles, then we want to say it's enabled, and we want to say what the language is.
Yeah, so what if you want to enable only on one, what you can do is you can just check if it is captions. So
Okay.
or you can check if it is subtitles. So just enable for subtitles.
Okay, I'll look at that. It should be easier to fix. I think you fixed the hard thing, which is finding the captions button to interact with the first place.
Yeah, so that is done. Now another thing was, let's go back. What is full screen? Yeah, I've already discussed this full screen thing, I guess. Maybe I didn't post. Yeah, so what I also did was, I don't know if committed it or not. So what I have also done is, there was an issue that we were discussing somewhere. Interacted full screen showing video playback size. Yeah, so the video playback size was not changing when we were changing the video size. For example, when we were changing to full screen, this video playback size was not changing. It stayed the same all over the time. So it was happening because we were using a different variable than we should have used. So currently we were using my player dot width, but my player dot current width gives the correct thing. So if you see, this is the video.js page. It is showing these values. So width and height is currently 0, probably because, I don't know, probably because this video is not played. But if you see, current width is different. Current width is 1000 by 800. So this current width is the real current playback size, not width and height. So I've changed it to current width and current height, and now it is giving the size of the video. Does it make sense? Hello?
Yep, that's awesome.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Yeah, so it was. So yes, video playback. I don't know. I probably forgot. Okay, yes, I had commented here, so you might have read it. So both things, the current size and the quality thing. So this is the line of code that I had added, and then I removed it because the quality was not working there. Okay, so that is done. What else? Yeah, another thing that I wanted to decide is, we have this. We don't have a way to know the length of the video. So probably we should add something like a length extension that we
Duration?
send.
You mean duration? Like
Yeah,
how long?
the length of the video, or whatever you, if you want to say duration, so that this size of the video in terms of length in time. So currently we don't know the length of the video, and probably that will be required in some of the calculations, including plotting heat map or doing things like that.
Would that be let's see, same thing as the timestamp that is sent when completed is sent. Maybe if they no, that's true. I guess that's if they played the whole. Seems like there was somewhere in the video.js library the calculated duration. That should be pretty easy.
Yeah, it is very easy to know the length of the video, but we are not sending it. So we don't have an extension to send the length of the video. It is, yes, you are right that no. When you complete the video, it is not the time, it is not the end time in the video. Currently, we are using completed in a wrong way. It is not following the video profile. We have to change that. So completed currently means the end of the video. So even if you jump to the end of the video right away, you'll get a completed statement. That means you have completed the video even without watching the video, which
I
is
don't think
not
there
what we
is.
wanted.
I don't think there is an event in Video.js for what that definition of completed is, which is a more useful definition.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
so
just, you pretty rarely see that in video players.
Yeah, that's a good topic actually. Because I think there was a couple of us talking at iFest last week, and I almost think we need to. I know I hate to throw this wrench into the mix like this late in the game, but I think that some of the verbs we have in the video player are very centric to SCORM, like initialize, completed, terminated, and we need to make those more centric to what a video player does. Even like the video libraries like YouTube and Video.js, they use started and ended and those types of verbs. So I think we need to have those in here. And if there's a way for us to figure out whether they actually completed it, I think that would mean they played the whole video from start to finish.
Yeah.
Then you could see the completed statement, because that distinguishes between whether they actually watched it or completed it versus just letting fast forwarding it or dragging it, seeking it to the end and generating that completed statement.
yeah, so nomenclature is a different thing, but regarding the completed statement, it is very clearly mentioned, I think, in the profile. If it is not clear, we need to clarify it. But we had several discussions on it since the beginning, and since the beginning we had decided that completed would not mean reaching the end of the video. So if someone jumps to the end of the video, it should not send the completed statement. We have to know if they have watched the entire video. So one of the reason we have the heat map string is uh, an easier ability to know if the user has has actually completed the video. So when we have the heat map string, which is right now the played segment string, so when we have the played segments, we can calculate. So it'll need some calculation, which if you want, I can write the code for it, but we can calculate using the played segments to know what parts of the video they have played, and then to know if they have really watched all parts of the video. So that is one very important thing, and that is this is one more reason why we have the registration thing. So if registration thing, and also we need to check what the last played segment was. So if, let's say, I launched this video and watched parts of this video today, and then I come back and start watching this video again tomorrow, uh, tomorrow we should know what I have already done yesterday to know if I'm completing the video or not. I should not require to watch the entire video in one sitting. So let's say if someone has a 1 hour video, and the user can watch video in separate segments, in separate settings. For that, we need to check what the last played segment's value was. So we need to make one query to the LRS to check what the last pause statement was, and we'll get the played segments, and then we start adding more segments to that played segments to get the entire picture.
Wow, that's great. I wish that kind of like brings it all together, like why to use registration, why we had the heat map thing, or what we're calling played segments in there now. Really fits well. Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah,
So
I think we could use your help with that later on, getting the played segments piece.
I'm looking
yeah, I
forward to
can.
seeing, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how you calculate that, Pankaj. I remember looking a lot online and seeing a few different methods of calculation for that, and a few different arguments on fidelity of how detailed of a calculation you do for it. I think the general argument is per second is close enough for analysis purposes, but I'll be curious to see how you go about doing it. In regards to nomenclature or the naming, I agree. It probably makes sense to be consistent with the other video players. I think we probably just lean towards CMI just because it's probably the most defined profile at this point. But
No. Let's not copy other profiles. That's the other thing we've been talking about. Like,
yeah,
just because CMI5 does things a certain way and they're very LMS centric, I don't think we need. In fact, I'm going to recommend like others too, like in this profile working group. They're like, well, you guys should use very, video centric things as part of your video profile. Don't use CMI5 verbs and don't use SCORM verbs and all that. So I think for the nomenclature part, not Pankaj, what you're talking about, maybe I don't know, I'll propose some things in here without trying to break things too much, but I don't know how to calculate completed or viewed, or I'm sorry, completed or watched without your help, but I think the other ones, I think we could update and make it a little bit more in alignment with the way video players talk about things.
Yeah, I was agreeing with that. I was just saying that I think the reason why we named somewhat similar to CMI5 was just because it was an example to look at. I'm totally fine with changing, and I think that makes sense.
I think there is only two verbs that is not directly video related. Otherwise, we have played, paused, seeked. All those verbs are video specific. Completed, you might be able to debate, but when we say that we have watched all segments of the video, I think completed makes sense. If we say watched, it might not work if we start using it for let's say audio. So again, then I think completed is a very common word used everywhere for everything. So I don't think it is something that people will not understand. Initialized and terminated, these two verbs are something that I would say is coming directly from CMI or from SCORM. So if we want to debate on that, we can change that.
What about
Okay.
abandoned? Is that? Do you think that one's too CMI5-ish too?
Abandoned? I don't think so. I mean, because there is maybe a use case for a video being abandoned. I don't think we have anything in here yet that would generate that. But I think Pankaj and I talked about that last call or two, or maybe it was via email. We were talking about
Yeah,
how,
no, in the last call, it was decided that abundant is removed. So I have removed it from the profile documentation. So abundant is removed. So we don't need to talk about that. There are only two things. One is initialized and one is terminated. And it depends if we want to use that or not. But practical purposes of using both these statements are that we want to know the video session that is going on.
Yep.
So it might make enough sense. Anyway, that is something that probably you should think a little more on, and then maybe if you have any suggestion on changing those, if it is required. If it is not required, I don't think anyone cares about it.
The current use that we have in there, like you pointed out, Pankaj, completed is wrong, but that one could be ended. Like the video ended. It doesn't say anything about what the the learner did, just that the video ended from, start to finish. I think most players have like a started and ended verb, but the only other one I would say maybe using or started and ended like events, but the only one that I think that we need to figure out is completed. Whether we should keep that, I think it's fine. Completed is fine, or finished would be probably very synonymous with that. And then terminated, like we talked about that a little bit on the last call, like you said, but terminated, there's no way to send that unless you have some type of interaction. Like, so Video.js has a option to pop up like a modal window where the user could interact with it. You could have like some text or close button. So we did that just as an example in this demo, but I don't think there's any way we can require that a terminated be sent.
Another way is when a user closes the window, or the window is getting closed, or the page is getting changed. I think there is a way to check and send a statement at that point of time in most browsers.
Yep.
So
window close event using the DOM or something.
Yeah, page unload or window unload, something like that.
But from what I was reading, I remember looking at that for briefly, and then I got sidetracked, like looking for a squirrel, distracted to something else. But I thought the on unload and on before unload event handlers were deprecated. Aren't they like somewhat not consistently supported though?
Okay, yeah. possibly.
undeprecated some, so I don't know if we should try to build that into this demo or not.
Yeah.
I thought I recall reading that. I don't know, Jonathan. Do you know?
Honestly, I was distracted. I'm looking at different calculations for playing video again. to the end. Can you repeat the question?
On before unload or on unload event handlers, are those consistently supported in browsers? Do you know?
I don't know about on unload. But
W3
unload has been
schools
around for a
says that
long
it is
time.
supported.
Yeah, it should be.
Okay.
You can see my screen.
Yep. Oh, on unload. Okay.
I don't remember when unload was started.
But it says in the note under that, it says, look at the note under that browser support there. No. Due to different browser settings, it may not always work. So
yeah, it may not
I guess-
always work.
I think that has to do with when it's triggered, not whether or not it works.
Yeah. So if there's a way to trigger that, we could try testing it out, like closing a tab or closing a browser window on mobile before it's finished playing, and just see what it does. But
So
yeah, that's what
terminated is an optional verb, and it is only when the player is able to get that information. So we cannot make it mandatory. It is not possible.
I think you're right. This is a potential solution for that, though. You could write onto your page on unload, throw that verb out there, and we could put it in the demo as an example.
So between deciding to have that verb or not, it is that if the information is available, should we have it or not? So instead of making it mandatory that we need to have this information.
Do you have it, Jason? Do you have a sense of whether or not people use terminated in practical
they
instances
do,
very
and
often?
yeah. I mean, they do for like SCORM-like scenarios or CMI5. That's why I was kind of arguing we come up with our own more video-centric verbs, and this would also kind of maybe address some concerns Pankaj I know had like a year or so ago too about verbs sending statements that may conflict with what CMI5 sent and that kind of thing.
The video thing is pretty inconsistent between different players. In the past days, there used to be a stop button in the video recorder players and those kind of old systems where you have a stop button, and stopping the video would just stop the video and you go back to initial. But today we don't see that stop thing at all. In most of the players it is not there, so calling it stop would probably not make sense to today's people.
Yeah, maybe like closed or exited. It doesn't say whether it was, intentionally closed or exited though. So this is like the scenario where they unintentionally closed or exited or terminated. So, well, no, I guess terminated could account for either of those, but
Yeah, I would probably go with closed. At least from the learning perspective, I don't think it matters one way or the other why that event occurred. So at least from that perspective, I don't think any other instructional designers would care why that happened. But maybe from a development perspective.
True. Okay, yeah, sorry to throw a wrench in all that, but maybe before I make any big changes, I'll run it by you guys and see what you think.
I'm hoping you come up with some pretty unique, fun names. Something just crazy. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah, so fine. If you can think of a better thing, we can. But I don't care. Personally, I'm not worried about it. But yes, if you have heard from people concerns related to these two verbs specifically, we can think of finding better options. But for all practical purposes, it is just trying to know when a video actually started and when it really finished or
Yep.
ended or stopped. So
Ended. Yep.
those two statements work there. If you are talking about a ended statement, we had discussed a ended verb to send when the user reaches the end of the video.
Yep.
But on that call, everyone said that it is not required. It is not useful at all.
Yeah, I
When a
know, and
user
that was probably
reaches the end, it
yeah.
doesn't.
But now we said that on the call before we had like a real working demo where we can actually see what the player does. So I don't feel bad backtracking on some decisions if it makes sense for the betterment going forward. And we also have better guidance on what we want to put in the profiles too in general after doing this research the past 6 months on the profile spec.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think
So any
there
verb
is
we
value.
add, it should solve some purpose. If we are
Yep.
adding an additional verb, it should be of some use. And if we are giving people the information they really need, that is to know if the user has watched the entire video, they just don't need to know if the user reached the end of the video, because they know that the user has watched the entire thing. That means the user has reached the end at least once.
Gotcha. So there's no value in knowing that they I guess if they seeked to almost the end, it would not ever say they watched it or finished it or completed it. It would just
Yeah.
say they played segments. They skipped to like 5 seconds and then they skipped to from 5 to the end. And
Yeah.
by that, and by coming up with the calculation you were talking about, Pankaj, where we determine whether or not we're saying they actually watched it, then that's what we really need. We don't need to know that it just played through. Okay, I'm with you. I agree with that.
In the absence of completed or a good progress value, ended might be useful for inference, but completed in progress will be more accurate and more valuable.
Okay.
So we have to change both these things. The progress extension that we are sending, it is currently checking based on the point in time in video, and not checking for the actual progress. I had mentioned it on some ticket.
Well,
I guess
progress will just be your progress and completion calculations will be practically the same, won't it? It's just,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That'll
So
be
this. Yeah, both are same thing. When the progress is 100% completed, is reached.
Yep.
Like I said, I'm interested to see how you go about doing that.
Yeah, so it is basically simple mathematics we have to do when we know all the segments of the video, and when we know the length of the video, we can just map it. It is mathematical calculation basically to know which parts are left out, or to check if all the parts are done. So it'll
Well, I mean,
be
it seems easy enough to calculate whether or not the total played segments in time is equal to the length of the video, but that still doesn't mean the video was completed. So I'll be curious to see, because I don't know what math it is that would let us look at.
yeah, if we are doing maths, and if we are just adding the length of all the segments, it will not be correct, because if the user has watched same segment multiple times, it'll be wrong. So what we have to do is we have to first sort the segments from minimum to maximum based on time, and then if the second segment is overlapping the first segment, we reduce one of those segments to
Interesting.
match
Okay,
the
yeah.
time.
I think your math kung fu is stronger than mine, so I look forward to, like I said, seeing your solution.
So So it's basically maths. We have to do some maths and it requires some calculation, which is not overly complicated and which can be done. Now, yes, so plate segment. Another thing that I had mentioned on this ticket is that we don't need to send, I believe we don't need to send plate segments in the played verb, because whatever plate segments is there in the paused verb, that doesn't change when you play the verb, play the, when you click
Yeah,
on play or when you start playing.
that makes sense to me, Pankaj.
So we can remove it from there.
I'll leave this
Um,
open until we take it out.
Okay.
yeah.
So I don't want to jump in here and like make big changes yet until it seems like we've got everything just about working, except for figuring out the total calculation for when we determine whether they actually watched it, right? What Pankaj just talking about, doing some good math, and then the other thing was what was the other thing? Something small. Was it captions? No.
The volume change
Volume change. I
and
think
captions.
make a deal with you. If you can finish the total calculation based on the played segments, I'll work on the other ones.
Yeah,
But I don't want to.
I'll take care of played segments and completed in progress.
Okay, I just don't want to be in there at the same time and us have overlapping things, and I don't want to change any verbs and all of that stuff until I've maybe gone in the Google Doc, and I'll send you guys some messages to look at it and see if we all agree that
Mhm.
on the changes there before we change anything into the demo code.
That sounds good. Jason,
So
didn't you have another question about the structure of the plate segments section to match, like, I guess it was coming in as an object or is matching some other data format? Does that make sense? I can't remember.
yeah, I think I I don't know. I was looking at the way the player was showing it in general. Oh, it looks like you got a screencast up. Yeah, I'm not curious. I don't know in terms of like querying this from an LRS or querying it from a data standpoint. What is makes sense? I'm guessing it's the way you guys had put it in there with the print the brackets and the comma to separate the values.
So this is what it was when you did, Jason. I have made the change on this.
Okay.
It was a one-line code change when I'm merging multiple segments into one single string.
Okay.
So this is not that one. I took this screenshot before making the change. There is a simple join function in JavaScript. So if you have multiple values in an array, you can just do that array dot join and put whatever
Oh,
string you want to add between those strings,
nice.
and it
Nice.
just that. So it was a very simple change. Similarly,
So,
when you want to calculate using the string, you can just split the string. So there is a JavaScript function called split, and you do dot split, and then the split value, like these brackets and dot, it'll split the entire string into an array. So it's very simple.
okay,
Awesome.
so we are going with one long string rather than an array
Yeah.
with, okay.
Yeah. So this is another issue that I wanted to discuss. It is different from what we have been discussing. What is currently happening with Video.js is it is making some adjustment to these played segments. For example, if you see this 11 statement, played and paused. So I started playing at 0 and paused at 5.143.
Yeah.
It is showing 0 to 5.143. So here it is good. Now I played at 8.048 and then paused at 12.841. So it added to this segment. So this is also pretty good. But the but the difference starts coming when, let's say, I just started playing it immediately. So if you watch the timestamp 12.841 and 12.904, it is very minute change, and probably I just clicked on pause and then I clicked on play, and this slight time change happened. Uh,
Hmm.
Now, in this case, Video.js is a little more intelligent and it is adding this value now. So it is changing the played segments from 12.841 to 12.902.
Is
And
it
then
just
when
because
I
it's
pause,
so?
yeah,
Is it just because it's so touchy, the player control, or is it just not accurate?
uh, I would not say that it is touchy. Probably there is something that is causing this 60 millisecond difference.
Mhm.
But the
That could just
problem
be
that I'm saying is that ideally it, according to the profile, ideally it should add one more segment, but it is skipping this segment that this pause and play is creating.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's going to impact your total calculation, whether they watched it too.
Yeah, that is another problem. So if we use this Video.js calculation, it'll work with my total calculation. But if we use what the profile says, that whatever timestamp value we are sending with the paused and the played verb should be used in played segments, then there'll be this 60 milliseconds remaining in the total time spent.
Mm.
I mean, it's definitely not ideal, but it's it's not that big of a problem. But it would be ideal if the time was exact. At least from, again, looking at this from an instructional design perspective, we wouldn't care about half milliseconds. I mean, as long as the calculation is pretty close, we would be fine with it.
Yeah, but any adjustments we need to make, we should either write somewhere or we should decide on what we need to do. So if we are ignoring 1 second differences, we have to say that we can ignore some minor differences, or 1 second or 0.1% or something. And here, if we are using the Video.js's played segments values, we need to modify the profile and write there that remove the statement that says this value should be exactly same as in paused and played verbs.
Yeah.
So it's more of a technical issue than practical issue.
Yeah, just keep them consistent.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think we should make them so updated so that it sends the same, just technically in the statement?
Yeah,
Or
I
I guess.
think we should send the same value that we have in the time stamp here.
Okay.
And then when calculating the completed verb, we should probably ignore minor
Okay.
things.
Do you mind looking at that since you're trying to do the total calculation anyway?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll do that.
Another thing I wanted to mention. So Anthony, I talked to Anthony last week at iFest, and he wants to do an article in the e-learning guild. I think he's already been writing a few of them. So the next article would be on the video profile.
Cool.
I wanted to see if we wanted to maybe co-author with him. So I think what would be cool as part of this, Pankaj, it might give you an opportunity also to showcase your LRS, because you have the grass blade LRS, right?
Yeah.
Maybe as part of the demo, show some screenshots from the data and the visualizations or whatever from your LRS based on what we did in the profile here, just to kind of give people a big picture view of what's possible. So maybe we
Sounds
can
awesome.
wrap these few things up. Yeah, these few last things up. We'll have something to publish out there and promote. I've got some free time here in the next few weeks, so I plan on jumping in and trying to work on it as well.
Yeah, it'll be good if we have a little time. If I know the timeline when he wants to publish those, and if I get some time, I might be able to modify or add some more visualization to this information. For example, the heat map that we had discussed. If we can show the heat map in the LRS, it might be more appealing.
Okay. I'll ping him. I'll send him a message and copy you guys. See what his timeline is.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and if he's interested in allowing us to co-author.
Yep. Yeah, I think he said he was last week.
Okay.
Pankaj,
was
what's the
IFAC?
best email? Oh, it was good. It was a good turnout. There's like 300 people there. It was not bad considering we only had like 50 registered a few weeks before that. So a lot of people just registered at the last minute.
Mhm.
Cool.
Pankaj,
Any
what's
luck
your
in
best?
convincing me? Go ahead.
Person- I'm sorry. What's your best personal email?
Um,
Is it pankaj.visitme@gmail.com?
yeah, you can send on that.
Is that okay? I didn't know if you had a preferred one. I have like two or three different ones, I think, for you.
Yeah, you can send on any of
Okay.
them. But yeah,
Okay.
all
I'll
of them
copy.
go to the same email, so no problem. So I think we had a pretty productive meeting today. I'll work on the plate segments and completed progress thing. If you can take a look at the other things, and if you want me to do anything on that, you can let me know. And yes, it'll be good to have some articles on video profile and some more information out there, so people get interested and start using as we push out the demo.
Yeah, I really see this as being the real best example for the xAPI community of a profile out there. I mean, the CMI5 one and SCORM one are cool, but there's a lot of other things that those profiles do that are outside of what you could actually expect from a profile. For example, CMI5 has a lot of launch and packaging
Yeah.
requirements that an LMS is going to have to handle. It's not like your
Yeah.
typical use case.
Yeah.
Those are both very complicated. And this one's going to have so much more reuse potential by people, and everybody does videos. So
Yeah, it can be directly used. The demo can be directly used by anyone without much complication.
exactly. So, well, cool. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate your time.
Thanks.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll
Thanks
look
for all
for
the
you.
hard work, guys.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'll look for you offline here, and we'll follow up on some of these. Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks for hosting, Pankaj.
Bye. Thanks. Have a good day.
Bye, guys.